Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Cyma Zarghami.
Today, I don't want to just bombard you with all of the things that you need to know about Nickelodeon lately. So I thought first that I would share with you some insights to our audience that we've been collecting over the past 18 to 24 months. Insights that have been influencing the decisions that we're making for the short and for the very long term, based on research that sometimes tells us what we want to hear and often reminds us that the consumer is always right. Although change is part of the Nickelodeon DNA, its core attributes have remained the same for over 25 years. We've learned that having a set of attributes that you stick by, combined with a constant dialogue with the audience, can take you to some very exciting places. But words like relevant, innovative, respectful, smart have helped to guide us and have cemented our leadership over the years. And it doesn't matter whether it's a preschool show on television, whether it's a live show, everything that we do is vetted through these attributes, even our cruise ship. Diversity is a critical attribute for us and has truly become part of our DNA. We vowed a long, long time ago that we needed to have visible diversity to represent all the kids that we serve. And it was almost 10 years ago that Dora the Explorer broke new ground because it was the first preschool series to teach Spanish language and culture. And Dora has become a Latino heroine to all kids in the US and is making a mark in every market that she's been introduced. And as multiculturalism grows over and over again, we've heard from research about Asian culture and the Asian population and interest in that culture. So we're launching a series. We just launched a series in the US and we're launching it in many other markets called Ni Hao Kai Lan. This series, which is for preschoolers, introduces kids to Chinese culture and teaches the basic elements of the language. Kids are getting a front row view into the lives of parents, and as a result, are gaining appreciation of their parents as individuals. And because of technology, kids are also getting a closer look into their parents' work lives, and it appears that they're really liking it. Kids and parents are desperately looking for ways to spend time together, and online gaming is growing as a way for the family to get together. There's a democratization going on of the family, shared responsibilities and shared decisions. And here are a few points that we've learned about the Millennials. This is a generation that is very different and has a very different outlook than generations that came before it. Millennials overall are very happy. No previous generation of kids enjoyed spending time with their parents as much as this one does. Millennials are simultaneously altruistic and materialistic. They value teamwork and not individualism. They're comfortable with technology and have a voracious appetite for pop culture. Digital means to kids all the new media that they're consuming, and that means that we need to move faster, listen harder, and take more risks. One of our new offerings this year, which I'm going to show you, has emerged from a collection of these studies. We know that kids are being exposed more to their parents' lives, and they're really enjoying the window that they're getting into their parents' lives. In another study, we heard kids say that they want tools to help them navigate what it's going to be like when they get out into the real world. And in another ideation session, we heard the notion of learning core competencies keep repeating itself. So as we put it all together in the development process, what emerged is a fantastic comedy called True Jackson. That, on the surface, appears to be about a 15-year-old girl centered around fashion. She's appointed vice president of a fashion company, and it stars Keke Palmer, who you may remember from the movie Akeelah and the Bee. We're going to launch the show in November in the US, and it'll be around the globe next year. So if we're able to understand the emotional developmental needs of our audience and marry it to great storytelling, usually in comedy, and find fresh, innovative executions relevant to today's kids, we have the opportunity for great success. Not so easy every time, but one truly great example is iCarly. This show was developed with the idea that kids are using the internet to communicate, entertain, and make their own content. And we've spent a lot of time exploring the idea of convergence, the back and forth between the platforms. And iCarly features 3 friends who host their own web show while dealing with all the usual kid issues of friends, family, and school, and integrating what kids are doing on the web into the narrative of each episode. And it also offers the kids a chance to send in their own user-generated content and see it used on the show. And it is actually the first show to ever really do that. It makes for a really seamless pitch and catch between the user-generated content and linear television. Now, relevant is one of the key attributes that has kept Nickelodeon evolving, and to actually be relevant means that we can't limit ourselves to just the properties that we make and the talent that we help to create. Being open and inclusive has led us to innovations and success, and probably the best example of that has been the Kids' Choice Awards. They've been described as the Oscars for kids. We let kids choose their favorites in TV, movies, sports, gaming, and burping. This event allows us to open the doors to everything in entertainment that kids love and execute against it in ways that are completely consistent with the brand. It's funny, and it's irreverent, and it's exciting, and it's entirely kid-centric. And that means that everyone can be on the show, from Zac Efron to Danny Minogue, McFly, Tokyo Hotel, Chris Brown, Jack Black, and Miley Cyrus. And 20 years later, it just keeps getting bigger. Finally, I couldn't speak to you today without mentioning our friend Spongebob Squarepants. Believe it or not, SpongeBob marks its 10th anniversary in 2009, and we do, in fact, live in a SpongeBob world, because our beloved sponge does capture the essence of what our brand really stands for. SpongeBob is one of those rare properties that transcends borders. SpongeBob became popular in the US at a time when there was a real need for optimism, and given what's been going on this week, I guess he's needed more than ever now. And I think it's why the show is working so well around the globe as well. It's our company's most widely distributed property in 171 territories worldwide. And about 40% of the global audience this year is 18 years or older. So finally, because Nick is a brand that began on TV as the first channel for kids, we've spent 30 years figuring it out as we go, sticking by a set of attributes, a commitment to listening to the audience. We set the creative bar high, we reinvent ourselves frequently, and we try to stretch as the audience changes. And it is my hope that one of today's Nick viewers will be up here when Nick is turning 50, speaking about how these same attributes apply and perhaps celebrating SpongeBob's 30th year. Thank you again for having me today.